You know, a lot of people just don't know no better. And guess what? We can get mad, but who do we really get mad at? You got to get mad at the system because the people that are working the systems really don't do no shit anyway. You know, when you look at the zoning board, are we taping? Yeah, let me know when you're ready. Are we taping? One more minute. You know, when you look at most of these boards, man, and especially when you look at leadership, you got to look really all the way to the top. All right. See, leadership knows. When leadership knows of where they set their standard. See, this ain't my standard out here.
All right, I got it.
Because you had to clean. What?
I got it.
Oh, so you understand?
I understand. I'm gonna start this off, and I'm gonna pull you in.
And then you're gonna let me go?
I'm gonna let you go. I got you.
Oh, all right. But you gotta keep hit me with a couple now.
I can't.
You gotta talk.
No, you gotta.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
I can't hear
Testing 1. Can I be sure
you.
that life is but a dream?
Look at him. Hello.
Come
Good
on.
evening. My name is Jamal Charles. I'm a medically retired Army veteran. At this present time, we're at the Terra Cafe in Baltimore, Maryland, 25th and St. Paul Street. And what we want to have a discussion about is the noise ordinance that has been placed on the owner, which is sitting right here, Mr. Terrance Dickinson. But what I need to tell you, general public, and whoever's listening, how I met this young gentleman here. I received a phone call from an individual say, you need to go to the Terra Cafe 25th in St. Paul in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm like, for what? Jamal, go down there. So what I did, I came down here the first time I ate. I looked at the menu. I said, this is wonderful. Nothing's over $15. It's really not over $10. Then I came
Yeah, we was
back.
balling back then, just $10.
I came back. I said, let me sit down here. But I came in here when it opened, and I looked. I was like, now I started on restaurants in 1978 because my first job outside of working with my father was in Russell's Steakhouse in Baltimore, Maryland, out there in Towson off of Lock Raven. My father said, whatever you do, you learn every job in that restaurant. And I started out as a busboy, worked on the dishwasher, and I eventually became assistant cook. This is in high school from 78 to 82. So I started out on restaurants. That's what I'm saying. So I came back the third time. I said, I got to find out who owned this place. The cabbage was critiqued. The cabbage was, what's her name?
Yeah.
Martha Stewart, you can't touch this cabbage. You know what I mean? Rachel Ray, y'all can't touch this cabbage. This brother go away. Patty need to come over and eat some of this cabbage. I don't know about your pies, Patty. But never this cabbage was wonderful. So I said, I'll meet this guy. So I said, I seen him. The guy was like, there you go. Can I have a meeting here one day? But what he didn't know that I counted every chair in here. I counted every chair. I looked at the different multicultural people coming up, all races, all denominations, whatever. Then school kids was coming in there and he was giving them food and juices. I said, what is going on?
Long they did their homework though.
That's right. That's
Nobody on ride for free around here.
So what I did, what he didn't know is I said, I'm strategic. Plus I was a union rep outside of John Hopkins Hospital. I used to work at John Hopkins Hospital, union rep. So what I did, Mr. Terrance, this is what I did. I knew the slowest day was on Mondays. So I said, what I'm gonna start doing is having meet and greets in here on Mondays.
And you started bringing the troops in,
that's
baby.
right. I said, I'm gonna run this bag up. So what I told the people is, you can't talk to me until you hit that cash register over there.
There you go.
That's how I started.
I remember.
I said, I'm gonna roll them around Mondays and Tuesdays. Mondays, just keep on doing it, keep on doing it, keep on consistent doing it. Then we had a veteran that said, check this out. What I'm gonna do is donate to Mr. Terrance to give him a certain amount of money. Can't say how much it was. And then
$500 million trillion.
And then what they do is he would pay for all the food through the meet and greet. So if it's 65 people came through it, 75 people come through here, whatever. I can't tell you who the veteran name is. And we just kept on continuing doing it, doing it over and over and over again. Now it got to the point where as though it's like this was home. Now this gentleman right here offered the veterans in Central Maryland, DC, Philadelphia, New York, Northern Virginia, West Virginia, Eastern Shore, and all points north and south to come in here, and people really love this place. This is before we was outside. So I said to myself, you know what? I'm loving this. And a lot of people came back and things like this. So we was and we felt like we, as in all cultures, felt like we was at home being veterans in the United States of America. And he embraced it. His family embraced it. The staff embraced it. And he just kept on going. Then COVID hit. Here we go. I come back through Baltimore. He's outside with grills, cooking food on the front, feeding the community in the neighborhood. Because the community in the neighborhood, in this environment and other parts of the state around, they know Mr. Terrance. They know him. They know him in the streets. The poor know him. The white know him. The individuals know him. I mean, everybody just know him. I mean, it's just mad love. I'm lying?
No, you're right.
I'm not lying.
You're right.
So,
treat everybody the same, and guess what? You can't be no way but balanced.
That's right. Now, being the person who he is, and Mr. Scott is sitting back there, he knows about business and stuff like that and building things. You look at this right here, it's marvelous. I mean, you feel like you're in the Bahamas. I mean, Mr. Clifton, you feel like you're in the Bahamas?
It's the Jerk Garden.
It's the Jerk Garden. That's what we in.
Jerk Garden.
So other things bred from the COVID situation, whereas though we got, consulting and, jazz back here and people selling clothes back here. And, you got
helping businesses
back here. I mean, people come back and meditate. I mean, I done seen it all back here and in there within the last 6 years. Now, this noise ordinance, what I have a problem with, I'm just going to say it, Mr. Terrance.
Go ahead.
I'm a United States veteran. We defend the country. Where is the freedom of speech at? Now, all this other stuff with these contracts and stuff like this. So, how's it in Baltimore City that in Fells Point, they took all the furniture, put tents outside, they playing music, they got DJs outside in Fells Point and in Federal Hill. I seen it myself. I seen it myself.
In Hamden.
And it's a noise ordinance
certain
over here.
parts of Old Goucher.
So what we want,
certain parts of Charles Village.
Yes, but what I want to ask you is this: I'm a veteran of the United States of America. We took an oath to defend our country, and I feel very insulted with freedom of speech, Mr. Scott and Mr. Clifton. You're veterans too. I don't understand how they incorporate that in people playing music or playing jazz or doing poetry or just having events in here where as though that it might be some decimals of noise. Because this is
but
not.
It's
I need you to elaborate on Mr.
But you want to know what? Hey,
Mr. Terrance.
Everybody, let me introduce myself. My name is Terrance Dixon, also known as Chef T. I've met you a bunch of years ago, but the crazy part is that the conversation that we're having today is about community. So over 20 years, I've been on this corner at 25th and St. Paul. In that period of time, I've helped maybe about 25 or 30 Black businesses really develop business structure and understand the part about community out of my storefronts here. And over the city, we've helped hundreds of businesses. But one of the key things is that we've always been community. Terra Cafe has been open right now for 11 years. Wow, no. 12 years, 7 months, 13 days, all right, 16 hours and 32 minutes, but I'm not counting. But the importance of it is that we opened up, I created this space for my kids. When I grew up, my father worked real hard. He worked at night, went to school in the daytime. So there were a couple of times a month that he took us out to dinner as a family. You know what I mean? And that's one of the key things that we've lost right now in our communities is the concept of family. All right. So he would always take us out to restaurants. It would be an Italian restaurant or a Chinese restaurant or a steak restaurant, always a nice restaurant, but it was never a Black restaurant. And please understand, when you go to these places, not only do you get the Chinese food, but you're going to get the culture. Right. You're going to get some of the language. You're going to get the design, the style. You're going to get some of the art. And that really kind of defines the culture. So how does it feel in your community that you have all these other layers, but there's nothing for you? So I created Terra Cafe for my kids, because I started doing what my father did. Right. All right, taking my kids out, but it was never anywhere to be nice. So we created Terra Cafe to create Black Awesome. When you come in, I was born in Orangeburg, South Carolina. You see the red dirt roads that I ran on as a kid with barefoot. You see the beautiful skies. You see the green foliage. All right. But also, when you see all of that first and it kind of like grabs you, then you look around and you see beautiful black art. You hear black music, soul music. You see beautiful black people. So now what happens, we have the opportunity to change the narrative of what society is really painted of what my community looks like. Because I don't know about anybody else. When I look on the news, I see guns, I see fights, and I see somebody that is just not focused of where they are. All right. Directing of what our culture looks like. So we wanted to create something that was definitely black awesome. And one of the key things is that it's the arts. You know what I mean? And understand this concept is not new. It's something that we've built our communities with. As a matter of fact, you have an economist by the name of Robert Florida, which I really created everything around on this corner. And what he talked about was how do you develop a community in an urban environment? Baltimore City is damn sure an urban environment. Okay.
Right.
What has to happen is this: is that 9 times out of 10 you don't have a lot of bread, so you're gonna have to use some of those other factors. You start with food, you start with art,
Right.
you start with culture, and you create it. Like they say, you create it, and they will come, and people come. But because you set a standard of art and culture, you elevate people to maybe they've never seen. One of the key things that when we started Terra Cafe, and it was also something else I wanted to do, was that I wanted to change the narrative of food in our community.
You definitely did
All
that.
right.
You definitely
But
did.
here's the crazy part. I
Right.
trick people into being awesome. Everything that you have here, that cabbage, that wonderful cabbage you talked about,
Right.
guess what? It's peppers, it's onions, it's carrots. All right. It's cabbage. That doesn't sound delicious. That doesn't sound fun. But when you do it the right way, it changes the narrative of what that is. So when we first opened up, everybody was used to a chicken box, fried chicken with fries, right? No,
Right.
we created paninis. We created baked food, jerk chicken, curry chicken. We have the best fish in the world, okay? But also we shared sides of veggies, salads, So it's a whole holistic approach of, curing your community. One of the big parts is the entertainment. When COVID came, I
You had
drew
to
this.
really reinvent yourself, didn't
I
you?
I had to.
And you're a
You know what?
visionary. So what I'm saying, when
When
I ask you
when
this question,
COVID came,
I'm
I
asking you a
listened
question.
to
You're a
what.
visionary, right? You are a visionary. We
If
want
you're
the
an
people to know
entrepreneur,
that.
you got to be a visionary.
He's a visionary. I want y'all to know
If
that. Go
yeah,
ahead.
if you're an entrepreneur, you got to be a visionary.
Right.
And guess what? A lot of times, you're going to be shy.
Right.
All right, because you can't share everything with everybody. You might be laying in the bed with someone at night that you got to create the idea, and you decide you're going to open up a restaurant, and you're going to show people how to eat healthy, and you can't afford for it to be assassinated. So a lot of things you keep in yourself. A lot of times, what I refer to entrepreneurs are that they're lone wolves. Okay, that they hunt by themselves. You know what I mean? It's a very lonely trail. But guess what? Sometimes every now and then you get with a pack of your like-mindedness. So when you came along, you were like-minded because you're an entrepreneur. You're a visionary. All right. Those that are in the
Thank you, brother.
military, those that are in the military, guess what? You're a visionary because you saw something other than your community that you wanted. And guess what? Somebody introduced it to you. Whether or not it was through vision, whether or not they showed you a picture, or you saw the join the army now or join the Marines now. You know, hoorah. Hey, watch out now. All right. You feel me? But you saw that you wanted to fly that plane or go through that jungle and you had what it takes. And see, that's what Terra Cafe does to the community. Is that in the midst of COVID, when everything was shutting down,
Right.
all right, we set up. Okay. We reached out to the governor's office. We sent over a COVID's plan. The mayor's office sent over a COVID plan. No one took us for real. Okay.
Nobody in the city or state government took you for real,
Took
sir?
me for real. And you know what? We have great relationships all the way through.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're definitely one of the keystones of the community. All right. And for them not to take us serious at that point, really kind of decided that, you know what, this wasn't going to do what they said it was going to do. They assured that everybody was going to rise out of this thing like all boats were going to rise together. And with my first interaction with Bank of America and being denied for the PPP loan and having 20 employees and doing all the right things, it was different. You know what I mean? At that point, you sneaking at me.
No,
You want it.
you welcome.
All right. The part, thank you, Mr. Gray. The different thing was that, you know what? I realized at the beginning nobody wasn't coming from my community. All right. And I realized that it was going to get a lot worse before it get better. But I felt as though that if we did what we were supposed to do in a community, that we would come out very strong. And as you look around, this is what that interpretation of doing what you're supposed to do. All right. I didn't create this selfishly for myself. This was a vision that if all hell broke loose and we had to be somewhere where we could feed our community, if we had to provide shelter or protection, right. All right, this was real. And one of the things is that sad to say is that not a lot of people were trusting the government at that time, and definitely not now. You know what I mean? After COVID, even people that have risked their life for the country are saying that something's really wrong here. You know what I mean? That I went out there and I put it up, okay? And yet still, once again, that people from other countries are being treated better than us.
Are you saying that people in Ukraine are being treated better than us?
I just, $40 billion. The government gave $40 billion. Like I said, I'm my own country boy. So if you write it on a piece of paper, it makes sense. I write it on a piece of paper. You got people that are here, my tax dollars, your tax dollars. Whether or not you could pay them or not now because of COVID, ain't nobody been able to pay too much or nothing. But yet still in that point, okay, half my staff is gone. I couldn't really afford them.
Yes,
After World Central Kitchen came and supported my business. World Central Kitchen, this is who I'm thanking for this. Not Baltimore City, not the state of Maryland, but yet still, if you look through COVID, you'll see me in so many different ads, promotions, and everything else. But just like anything else, they use you and lose you. Okay? But for your community, how much do you how much do you take? So understand, it's not new.
What is Brandon Scott, the mayor of Baltimore, saying about
their particular situation? Well, you know what? Here's the crazy part. Let me finish introducing myself. I was part of the transition team for the city of Baltimore. All right. There were quite a few things that we actually are the architects or the roots of. Okay. You know, there was a boost program where they wanted to encourage 5 Black businesses to get downtown. All right. It became from our roots. We had a different vision. I believe in ownership. So I would never think that I would really want to give $50,000 to somebody that really has not given my community a shot in 100 years. Why am I just going to take it to you? You know what I mean? I felt as though that in my model, what happens is that businesses develop ownership. Okay?
Is that part of Terra
Love
consultants that you have?
Terra Love Consulting,
yes, sir.
TLC. And I mean, we helped a lot of businesses through COVID. All right, because no one had the acumen at all. I mean, we work with John Hopkins. We work with another group called eShip. Okay, and these are great organizations. But the one thing is that, society is still scared of Blacks leading themselves. You know, the short version of all of what we're going to talk about, of most conversations you talk about on yourself, is that I don't need someone else to tell me how to be awesome. Because guess what? There's some understandings that I know. I can't go to Little Italy and say, hey, I'm going to show you guys how to be great. I'm going to show you how to make sauce. I do make good sauce, though. I learned from Anton Pekovic, all right, and in New York, all right. But the crazy part is that we have to fix ourselves. That was one of the main conversations that came up at the meeting, and it came and it was amplified by a gentleman that was in Greektown, and also Bob Manikin. Bob Manikin.
Amplified.
Bob Manikin. He amplified it. And you're talking about a developer here in town. They have multi-million-dollar developers across the nation, and what he said is this. He agreed that the only cure for Baltimore is really to empower the people. All right, repairing Baltimore is not going to happen from the seats. It's not going to happen from the mayor's office or the council president or any of that. It's going to happen from the streets. It's too far gone. So you're trying to control something that you don't have your hands on. How does that work? It don't work. You got to get out there. You got to put your hands on it. You got to get into it. And that's how you're going to repair it. Because guess what? It's a different vision then. It's like a fish looking at a fish in a fishbowl. All right? You see it one way, and he damn sure see it another way. Okay.
So, do you have an entertainment license?
I have here's the crazy part.
Inside and outside.
Here's the crazy part. This is what we talked about. See, you got me all there just sometimes you got to educate people a little bit so that they understand the whole
Yes,
concept of
sir.
where we're going and the purpose of us here. See, an entertainment license is real important to us. We were the first venue in Baltimore City or anywhere that really provided a place for musicians. You know what I mean? You figure during COVID, they took a hit. There were certain industries that took a crazy hit.
Right.
If you were a live musician and you performed, all your venues closed, you couldn't eat.
That's right.
You couldn't eat.
Across the country.
9 times out of 10, and I work with quite a few musicians, 9 times out of 10, you didn't have the proper business structure that really qualified you for PPP or any other support because what are you again? A lone wolf. Okay? You take your horn, you put it in the case, let's go get this bread. All right? The same thing like some of your contractors out here, the landscaping people, maybe a small-time electrician. You really didn't have that stuff together, even a medium size. You feel me? So I have an entertainment license and not hesitating, but want to make sure that I'm crystal clear for you to understand. I have an entertainment license. Everything that we've done in this business, we have to fight for. Starting from our liquor license, and that's what they're attacking. Starting from our liquor license, it should have took 30 to 45 days. It took 14 months.
To come to what decision and conclusion? What were we saying?
Mm-hmm.
What decision and conclusion in 14 months?
Oh, that I could have the liquor license, but it should have been done in 14 days. But through being postponed it and not doing what they're supposed to do. See, everything is supposed to go in decency and order. Okay? It's no way in the world, and nobody can explain to me today, how is it that a 30 to 45-day process in the city of Baltimore took 14 months? Is it because I'm a black business? We're going to talk about it. Yeah, I'm a black business. How many other white businesses get that shit done in that amount of time? And guess what? Here's the crazy part. The poison is deep. The poison is deep because I paid for my poison. My attorney, Pete Previs, is supposed to be the best lawyer for a liquor license in the city, but guess what he did? He departmentalized me. He put me with his vision of what a black business and liquor license is. He put me over here. So the first 2 times my case got postponed, it came from my own attorney. It came from inside. I had to get rid of him because guess what? It was a relationship. Everything works off relationship. When you think about Baltimore City and they share with you it is a city of many communities, it is.
Right.
All right? And the one thing is this, is that Baltimore is a very racist place too. Where you're at right now is considered Old Goucher. All right?
This area, this
Old Goucher, Charles Village, Old Goucher.
Right.
It's a couple of things. Let me hit you some facts and catch everybody up. And I hate to keep breaking off, and it's so much. And I've been quiet for a long time because I really wanted to work with the mayor's office. Like I said, I was part of the staff, part of the transition. And, you know, we did a lot of great things in my mind. But guess what? They never really came to fruition because they didn't take them all the way. You know what I mean? There was never part of completion. All right? But the great part about this is that this is the largest, this was for over last 30 years, been about the largest concentration of black businesses in the state of Maryland.
In this area.
In this area. And the crazy part is that I'm talking about major architect firms, lawyers, doctors, all right? Not just barbershops and beauty salons like they try to minimalize us to what we have the ability and capacity within our community in reference to economics, okay? Also, right now, here's the crazy part again. Let me give you some more. Everybody's heard of the Chitlin Circuit, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, the circuit where black vaudeville performers, actors, musicians went up and down the East Coast, all right, from Boston to the South,
right,
and performed. Pennsylvania Avenue was a very big part of the Chitlin Circuit, all right? Back during that period of time, the Terra Cafe, where it's just the Terra Cafe, it used to be called the Red Door.
This used to be the Red Door.
It used to be the Red Door. The Red Door was a jazz supper club, but it was only for whites. Blacks could play there and they could cook, but they could never eat there. When I first opened up, I met a Baba, leader of your community. All right, Baba Roberts. Those in Baltimore know him. He sells the African Dinka art and doors right over at the Eastern Market. What market is that?
On Main Street, that market?
Yeah. right off of Baltimore Street. All right.
Holland's Market. What market you
Hollins
talking?
Market.
Holland's
He's
Market.
selling right over at the Hollins Market. He shared the story with me, and this is, you know, when you talk to me, sometimes I get goosebumps. You know what I mean? And he spoke to me, and he went to the bay window when you come inside, and he says, "You know what? I played right there." His father played the horn. All right, if I'm not mistaken, sax. All right. But he played the Hammond B organ there when he was a kid, 13, 14. So to see this thing whole cycle, like history, understand history is a cycle. If you look back at it, everybody gets a lick. What you do with your lick is what you do. All right. And the crazy part is for that to now be where, because it was where blacks would come and eat. I mean, whites would come and eat because they really wasn't too comfortable of being around blacks in our community. They wouldn't go over to Pennsylvania Avenue, across the bridge. See, the bridge was like across the track. Oh no, don't go down there by the track. Don't go across the bridge. So this is a place where they could go and they could harvest our energy. All right. And that was a crazy thing. So for it to be cycled that years later, now you have Terra Cafe. And now we've changed the narrative. It's not just about me, it's about us. But in reference to saying it's about us in this new race called human, guess what we got to do? We got to talk about the awesome black. You feel me? So that's what this place yells and screams.
Okay.
You feel me? And guess what? It changed the narrative. So when you would come in here on a Monday night with our live entertainment, because we have a permit to do it on the front, we have a permit to do it inside on the first floor, we got a permit to do it inside on the second floor. It says it's all on the permit, but it would just be common knowledge that guess what? If it says 101 and 103 is 25th Street, it's from the front door to the back door. Okay? And especially during the time of COVID right now. And here's the crazy part, that people are putting pressure on me. And guess what? This is mine. I'm not asking you to give me provisions to be on the street.
Right.
I'm not asking you to give me, I did ask for some money, but you ain't give me none for barriers outside. They gave me a little. I'm going to tell you what, Baltimore Community Lending, big thumbs up, because they got it done. See, not only did they give me bread a little bit, but $10,000, $15,000, but what they allowed me to do, they allowed me to share with them businesses in my community that might not have had the right structure, that might not have been in the right position in reference to what the actual everything read, but they knew the importance and the social power that they had in that community and the importance of keeping them. And see, that's what we're talking about. You know what I mean? You can cut through all the smoke and mirrors and everything else. Really what it is right now, Baltimore City is still in something worse than COVID. This is war out here.
Spineless.
This is really an all hands on deck. Okay? And the crazy part about it is that we've been validated by so many people that it's really asinine that I have to go through this. All right? So we have the Root store here that we opened up. It was a splinter of the Terra Consulting. I shared with you that we've helped a lot of businesses. And even if you're a business out there and you're seeing me now, you're having challenges, or you're thinking about opening a business, or if you opened a business during the COVID and you're really ready to get it up, reach out to it. TerraLoftConsulting.com. I got a free business analysis on there for you. I got a course with Santa Clara University in California. Who's talking to you like that? Ain't nobody talking to you like that. They trying to get all the shit that they can get. They trying to find the latest grant so they can kind of like bamboozle you. Because that grant money they get $10 for you, guess what? They only going to give you $2 and they going to keep $8. Right. The cut is wrong. Okay? So, I mean, these are some of the things that, hey, but guess what? I teach you how to change the cut. Terra Loft Consulting, I teach you how to change the cut. Because some of the things I believe in, that all for-profit business should have a nonprofit. Main reason why, because the inherent nature that we give a social give back. And that social give back is a value. So if you got your business, if you got 10 youth that say, listen, man, I'm going to show you how to do this podcast stuff and everything else, guess what? You should get paid. Because if you get some bread, guess what can happen? You can buy them equipment, you can put together a decent program, and you might do to change the narrative of changing some lives. See, when you hit them when they're young, guess what? It's a minimal expense. So the problem is going to be dealt with. You're either going to deal with when they're young or you're going to deal with when they're grown. And guess what? It's a big bill now. But one of the things we have to understand is that a lot of people are really comfortable with keeping that big bill because that's how they eat. They eat off the dysfunction of our community. You know, when you look and have conversations, like when you say drug treatment, I've hear people tell me they've been in drug treatment for 15 years. What kind of damn treatment is that? That means that you got a main line to the plug. Ain't that what y'all said? I got the plug?
Yes, sir.
You got a main line to the plug. You get all the good drugs. And guess what? Here's the sad part. A lot of times you see these methadone clinics and stuff, they hide behind a collar of religion and spirituality, and they're nothing but the devil. They're nothing but the devil because if you ask them, all right, that's like I said, I'm country boy once again. If I don't want you to do it to me or my kids, I'm not gonna do it to nobody else. Okay? Would you want your kid, all right, in a program that keeps them drugged up for 10 years? You basically erase their life. You feel me? All right? And understand that everybody didn't start old with this shit. They was young. You know? And it becomes a way of life. All right? Because guess what? Now you get the disability. Somebody getting that money. They provide a home for you. You got to go to the class. Somebody getting that money. All right? If not the group, somebody got funding for the space that you in.
Right.
You feel me? So you have to really look at the autonomy of what's going on with our community. That's why at this point in time, you know what I mean, you really lose faith in leadership.
So the noise ordinance.
The noise ordinance is a bunch of shit.
Okay.
Okay.
Only thing is how it's a bunch of
well, what happens is this, that if you get a bunch of people that call on a 311 and say it's a noise, they're noisy, then they're gonna come out. All right. Now, what the law is, let's talk about the law. The law is that you cannot have outdoor noise over 63 decibels after 11 o'clock. I could have a band here after 11, but they just got to make sure the noise is less than 63 decibels. Now, when you actually take the meter, and it has to be 50 feet from the premise. See, they don't think you should know that.
50
so
feet,
when you have 50 feet is the marking line of where you gauge your meter. Okay?
So they gotta be
your
50
decibel
feet
meter.
out.
So from my front door, 50 feet out, I put up a decibel meter when they're playing, and I'm standing across the street in front of Subway because that's where the certification was done for me 10 years ago when I first got the actual entertainment license. And what they debated on, I had speakers on the side of the building. They wanted to know whether or not the speakers were louder on the other side of the street. Like I said, petty like sand. A lot of stuff just don't make any, and it's all the same way. It's distracted.
Is this off of 2 calls, 3 calls, several calls?
No, it might be 10. I could sit there and call 10 times. But what has happened, let me tell you about the story. What happens, they call 311. They're going to send the police first. All right, like you've explained. We do the outreach with the youth,
right,
with the homeless. Police officers know us. We've mediated for the police department for a lot of times with a lot of different situations that they just did not have access to. Okay? So when they came out, they knew us.
Right.
The sergeant said, "What's going on?" All right. Now the captain gave the sergeant a problem. Sergeant brought the captain out. I invited about 10 white shirts here one night for that jazz night for them to see. All right. They did what most people do. They came in, they had food and juice and leaned back and had a great time. And when they stayed just about a good bit. I mean, a good bit. But they high-fived out and they said, "You know what? This is beautiful." They said, "Mr. Dixon, don't worry about this anymore. You won't get any more problems." They said that if we had 10 more of these throughout the city, you would make our job a lot easier. It's the same thing the health department said, that there was no problem here. Okay. So it's, once again, it's the validation of community. Like we talked about social enterprise. I got enough people that said yes, than people saying no. So now what has happened is that we've been in court since last year. All right. They pushed it to the point that guess what? Because you could take anybody to court. All right. And that's what's happened. We've gone back, and my attorney suggested that we go and we do an amendment on it. It should be 1, 2, 3. We'll be back rolling in a couple of weeks, but it's Baltimore City.
Okay, let me ask you this. You said one time you went to a hearing, you had 50 people. You're supposed to be up at 1 o'clock.
I'm going to tell you. Let me get you there. We went last year.
Right.
All right. And it was virtual. And it was very unfair virtual because we had a ton of people on the line to testify for us. Right. But what happened was that they're under control of everything. So they weren't able to, none of my people would testify. No, they didn't ask for any of mine. They found everybody else that opposed me, but they found nobody that was for me. And I mean, people are texting me and calling the office phone, and I'm looking at this on the screen, okay? Because it's not the first time in court. The first time we went in court for the first hearing in the liquor license, guess what? In the outdoor entertainment, we shut down the courthouse. There were over 100 people that came down and supported us. They took us out of the main room into another side, and they said, give these people what they want within the law. And that's all we're talking about, what's in the law. All right? So the second time we went down, okay? This is the 21st of April, okay? It was supposed to be a decision then. We showed up. We had about 50 people.
Right.
All right. It was the second hearing now because remember, we've been postponed ever since last year on the virtual to now. The zoning board told us that we had to meet with the neighborhood association again and work it out. We already had met with the neighborhood association once. Okay. And when we met with them the first time, we shared with them that we were there to do what we needed to do. At that point, only thing we needed to do is do a presentation of what we plan to do, and that's it. Okay. At that point, they wanted us to sign an MOU. For people that don't understand what an MOU is, a memorandum of understanding. So basically, what it does, it takes away your legal right. Because it means that it's going to deviate from whatever the law is. For example, I shared with you my code is 11 o'clock at night. If I signed an MOU and said I only can play till 5 o'clock, guess what becomes my law? 5 o'clock.
So that's like a binding contract. Is it like a binding contract?
It's not even a binding contract. It is actually put on your liquor license. So you actually dictate what you can do. And see, the first time that I did one with the outside, when I first signed my first MOU with the outside. When they lost that one, they had me sign an MOU. But guess what it said? It said that I could not get a liquor license for 4 years. Please understand, a liquor license to some people that are not in the industry, and that's a lot of problems because we have people not in the industry. All right, it's just not about a beer. It changes the narrative of a restaurant. It increases your bottom line by 60 to 75% because it makes more so of a penetration within the community that you're in. Okay, and also it changes your menu. So if I have a beautiful seafood Alfredo that I want to charge you $32 for, it's really delicious. But if I give you lemonade, it's all right. But if I give you a glass of white wine, woo, fire.
Right.
You feel me? There are certain things that pair with everything. But see, also, when you actually elevate to that point, now it's the seafood Alfredo, it's the glass of white wine, it's the salad, it's the dessert, it's the coffee, it's maybe the whiskey afterwards, as opposed to you coming and getting a fish sandwich and a half and half. It's a different ticket. Dinner for two, fish sub and everything else, $50. Dinner for two, all right, same time, same kind of effort, a little bit more into the product, but now you got a ticket that's $150, $200. It's a different dynamic, you know? So we have it, all right, in reference to live entertainment, but they're not allowing us to use it out here.
So as a veteran in the United States of America, I understand that I have an inherent right for freedom of speech. Where does this play within your business?
Yeah, but see what happens is that, let me share with you also, because I started to tell you is that what they did. Let me share about your rights. I went to court, the hearing, 11 o'clock, about 50 people. I had a cameraman. They knew who we were. We were intentional. I had my attorney, Mr. Robert DeShiel, which is a lion, beast, okay? And he knows the judicial system, and especially city, Baltimore City. Sued Baltimore City many a times. So they have an honest fear of him, okay? We did not get called. Right. And understand, we were on the previous, so we're at the top of the docket. We're here. It's just a decision that has to be rendered. You don't have to hear a whole case. They called us at 4:35.
Yeah, that's
and right when they called us, they took a 10-minute bathroom break. So at that point, when they came back and really came to address us, we had about 11 people. And I mean, we had the clerk of wills in there, all right? And we had some political people in there. We had business people in there. And, you know, it's very challenging because people care enough about you that they take time off from their work and their schedule to make time for you. So, you know, that was really awesome. Okay. But the key was that they already had no intention of doing anything for us. Okay. At that point with the hearing, we shared. The opposing side never came. So let's take this round. Let's do this score real quick. From the country, take a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle. All right. I have a neighborhood association that didn't show up. Out of 7 to 9 people, 2 people showed up. That means they couldn't even take a legal vote because they didn't have quorum. All right. Here's the other thing. Now, guess what happened? They did not adhere to a court order, because when the court tells you to get together in mediation and work it out, that's what they mean. If I didn't come, guess what? They would automatically tell me no. Okay. I have them in the garden. They came in the garden. They agreed that they've been fighting this thing for over a year and they've never been out here. They agreed that this is the most beautiful thing that they've seen. They've agreed that they would support us. On a scale of 9 to 10, from 1 to 10, they scored us a 9. And they said of all the places they would be in Baltimore.
So where's the problem at? Well, what's the nexus?
Here's the thing where the problem. When we got to court, when we went to court, they didn't say any of that. They said that we didn't work with them. They said that they denied us. Okay? Now, that's on their side of the paper. So they got one letter. On my side of the paper, I got 30 or 40 letters that share about us. I got about maybe 25 to 2,800 signatures. I got a 10-year, 11-year reputation in my community for caring and being a business owner, awesome business owner. Okay? No malice, nowhere around, meaning no harm or for no one else. Okay? And yet still we're denied. All right? But then yet on the other side, you'll have places like Hamden. You'll have places like Federal Hill,
Fells Point.
You'll have places like Fells Point.
Little
You'll have places like Canton.
Yes, sir.
All right? And all of these places, they've made deviations in reference to not only for entertainment, but really outdoor usage. All right. See, all of this stuff, you have to go to hearings. And you can't tell me that if they held me up for 8 months when it wasn't COVID, that you push all these people through. And if you push all these people through, guess what? That means you push me through too. So that means that it's intentional and it's malice from the zoning board and from the mayor's office, all right, against Terra Cafe and our outdoor entertainment. Okay? So, you know, I've tried to be very quiet. The city has enough problems. But guess what? You know, squeaky wheel gets the oil. And for them to continue to do this, not having it
anymore. We say them, who are we talking
about? You're talking about the mayor's office.
Mayor's office.
The mayor's office told me that, guess what? They would handle this because guess what? Like I said, I've been there for them. Right? They told me they would handle this. Don't worry about this. And it was good. I was supposed to get a letters from the mayor's office that really would trump everything.
How many people lost jobs because of this?
Come on, baby. I told you I had 20 employees. Now I'm down to about 8, 9, 10. Okay? Not only that, how much of the community that is affected? You know how much my phone rings because I do not have the ability to make sure that my payroll is paid? You know, at one point in time, we did have a cushion because for over a year and a half, we were really supported by World Central Kitchen. You know, one of the things that you keep hearing is that greatness is not here in Baltimore, but it's formulated somewhere else, and then it's brought back to Baltimore. And I keep trying to be the difference. I know that greatness is here, but the challenge is how do we harvest it? All right? And here's the crazy part. See, we have to have black conversation. Some people tell me don't use black. They say use indigenous. I'm going to use black because that's what I know. All right? For us to be in this community, for us to have a black mayor, Brandon Scott know him, done took all the pictures here, everything, the whole 9 yards. For us to have a black council president, Nick Mosby, know him, done been here, took all the pictures, supported him, write a check, the whole 9 yards. Marilyn Mosby. Support it. Definitely believe in her and not locking black people up for minuscule BS, because I've seen how it has affected my employees. Not everybody's going to take somebody back after they've been out of the loop for 2 weeks because they've been locked up over a bag of weed and jump on a turnstile. You feel me? See, not everybody's going to look and say, well, you know what? That cat's got 3 kids. Make room for him. Get him up in here. You feel me? All right.
So who was
All
in
right.
the hot seat?
Robert Stokes,
Who was in the hot
council
seat?
person, which ain't really did nothing for our community in so long. All right. It's horrible. And
So-
and here's the bad part is that when you seen how a person could be awesome, Robert Stokes used to be awesome in reference to the community and just totally fell off. You know, that's what happens within all this politics. You know, people are great. All right. You know, after everybody's had trauma, they want to save the world. But what happens when they get there, they lose it. They sell out.
So I ask you
They
a question.
fall into that seat. Come on,
What
let's
do
go.
we got to put the compass up to put this in a position where we can help you? What direction does it need to go in?
I think that more than anything else right now that I've given the and here's the crazy part. All of what I've told you, I was supposed to on the 21st of April we had the court. Right on June 7th we were supposed to get a decision. We never got it. Okay. On June 21st we were supposed to get a decision. Never got it. I've been in conversation with Mike Hubbard, who is the deputy mayor of Baltimore City. All right. And I'll save some of them conversations for later on because some of the conversations he had with me, I'm still scratching my head on how we still running the city and not getting this. Okay. You know what I mean? So it's enough people that know. You know, there was an article I sent to you earlier today. I think that it was February 19th. There was one in the Sun paper.
It was on WJZ.
Well, WJZ was all the way back. That's the crazy part. WJZ on August 10th of this year will be 1 year anniversary of our first court date, or the proximity of that first court date in reference to the problems. Okay, so here it is now, almost a whole 12 months later, and we're still stuck on stupid. Okay, so now there's 10 families out there that got to figure out how they're gonna make ends meet. There's a community out there that is wondering what's going on because one of the rocks of the community keeps getting rocked by a totally black administration, a total Baltimore administration. All right.
But you know what they say, when the help needs help, where's the help? So
Yeah.
this is.
But see, I don't want no help.
No, I said when the help needs help.
Yeah, okay, because I don't need no help.
We're not talking about help like that. I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that this is entrepreneurship at
That's
its greatest.
At its greatest.
Where's
son.
the city at?
Yeah.
Where's the city at to help this gentleman?
Well, you know,
help
that's
the
the bad.
city?
No, here's the challenge. When you have that conversation, you say, where's the city at to help? The city is the damn problem.
Yeah.
All right? The city is the problem. Okay? Now, we got, you know, and here's the crazy part. I mean, anything in Baltimore City that has happened has come through here in one shape or form. Everything from the squeegee boys to culinary students to, wow, so many stars.
I even seen
So many.
4 buses.
Come on.
Listen, 4 buses.
Come on, the
Let's say
kids from
like
all over.
It was 4
You already
buses.
know.
No disrespect.
We had them all here.
4 buses of Caucasians come up in here. I was like,
Yeah.
it blew my mind.
That was it. Yo, yo,
It blew- 4
yo,
buses.
they come. And see, here's the crazy
They said
part.
they went on a website to look for a good place to eat. They parked them buses outside and filled this whole place up.
We was locked. And guess what? They were patient.
And
They
it was from
understood that they ran
Indiana.
us. Yep. It's been a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Jersey, Connecticut, California, Florida. You know what I mean? And that's the great part about it. See, a lot of times when people come to Baltimore, that's what we choose to do different. When you say Baltimore, when I tell people, I understand, I came to New York from here. Yo, they thought I fell off, baby. They thought I fell off. You know, because see, the me that you see isn't the me that I used to be. The me that I used to be was that I worked on 11th Avenue. I did auto sales, high end. I've been making 6 figures since I was about 26 and 27 in auto sales. You know what I mean? I've sold to all kinds of stars, Michael Keaton, all the singers, so many different businessmen, all right, and business people, just crazy. You know what I mean? So when I came to Baltimore, I saw something that I think that a lot of people didn't see. I fell in love with the people.
But you
I
said
fell in
that
love with the architecture.
you said that you had bought this and never looked at it.
When I bought this thing, I was doing historic restoration and development. I make my money in the bricks, the houses, that house game. That's why my concept, we have to own the bricks. Other than that, we're sharecropping, and it's no other formula. It really isn't. Okay. And anybody think that it's something different, please feel free to reach out to me. Love to have the conversation. All right. But the one thing was that when I bought this, I was doing a job on Hartford Road, and I had this idea. I said, buy a cafe for my kids. I'm gonna have a little place where we go, nice restaurant. All right. And called the number, set it up, said, here's five. He says, what do you need? He said, I need 500 down and write a contract. I gave him 5,000. He didn't think it would get done. All right.
Right.
Negotiated the whole thing, got a great deal. And matter of fact, a couple of days before closing, they said I had to come. I came and I walked in 101 East 25th Street was Terra Cafe door. I thought that was it. Okay, great. Just what I thought. We're good. All right. And how do we get upstairs to the apartments? So he took me out. We went into the next door, the next building. I was like, oh shit. So it was one building, two buildings. So then we went upstairs, went around and stuff, came out. I was like, all right, good. Yo, bonus. All right. And then
You basically bought the place and didn't look at it, right?
Then he took me around. He says, okay, now we're going to look at St. Paul Street. St. Paul Street. Then he took me around to St. Paul Street, where there were 5 storefronts and 2 more apartments. All right. So in essence, over 20 years ago, when nobody thought about it, I bought a half a city block in the heart of one of the most racist community that there's been. All right. And we know about real estate. Those that know in real estate, when you go somewhere, real estate tip number 1, where you focus at, when you go in the city and you're looking for a property, always buy a corner. The key is a corner. All right. Key is a corner. So
you
guess
basically
what?
bought a property and didn't look at it. You really didn't
Of
look
course,
at it.
no.
You never looked at it. You bought it
I was
and then
making
you
money.
looked at it.
I was making money.
I got you.
I was doing historic restoration. I was doing real estate. And this was back in time when Baltimore.
Right.
Okay. Oh, we counting down. All right. All right. This one, Baltimore, when you bought 5 houses, you got one for free, and houses were going for $3,000, $5,000, $8,000, 10 at the most. All right. But what I'd like for everybody to do is keep an eye out for me. You're going to see me a little bit more visual now. You know what I mean? I think that I've given the city enough time to get their act together. All right. We're going to have conversations about this live entertainment outside. You seen the article in the Sun paper, please look them up. WJZ got something on me August 10th of last year, and it talks about the plight and what we're going through. Going to give them a call out. You know what I mean? I've been getting calls from everybody. I mean, everybody. Okay? And I've been talking to a few of my friends in New York that did the first national story on me, and they're ready to do an update. You know, what's going on with businesses, you know, 2 years later, where are we? It's right where I said we would be.
Post-COVID. Post-COVID.
All right.
Yeah.
You know,
it's serious.
it's right where I said we would be. I was shared where that if they did not take care of these businesses during this time of COVID, what would happen? It would be a ticking time bomb. Because once all the shine has gone off of COVID, and you got BG&E bills that, you know, the business is stretching to make a bill on a normal month. What happens when you allow him not to pay for 15 months, 18 months, and tell him he got to pay? What happens when you allow a business not to pay sales tax for that period of time, and you're still 60 to 70%, right, of what you used to be before COVID, and yet now, guess what? You're closing businesses because they can't adhere to what their accountability is. It's because the city hasn't adhered to their accountability, hasn't provided funding for everybody. You know, there's a lot of bread on the street. But remember, Baltimore got over $856 million.
How many restaurants in Baltimore City? Black owned.
We don't know now, man. I mean, it's short.
It's short.
It's short. You got to
I
I would say maybe you have about maybe 40, 30, 40 that are really open right now. You probably got another 50, 60 that are either closed or 1 foot away. You feel me? I get the call every day. You know what I mean? You know, people are trying to make it happen because it's all we got. You feel me? And that's the model that I share with my entrepreneurs. Listen, we're all we got. Ain't nobody coming. Let's get this. Okay. The philosophy of a lot of those that we got you, baby, you ain't never had us. I don't care if they was Democrat, Republican, Independent, they ain't never had us.
See that?
All right. It all
I
depends
say it all
on
the time.
it all depends on how they make you feel. All right. And so it's time for us to get away from this touchy feely and really get down to logic. What makes sense for us? You know, as a community, we're very emotional and it's understandable. The trauma that we've gone through, how could you not be? Matter of fact, that's probably some of the glue that holds you together. A good cry every now and then. That anxiety that grabs your chest and you don't know what's going on. You feel me? Waking up and you don't know what to do. That wake up in the morning and it takes you 3 to 4 hours to leave your house. That's called trauma. You know, these are some of the things that we look to do with the church garden here. You know, this is what it was created for. All right. It was created so that way that we would have a way for us to get back into a touchy-feely situation and community. You know, a lot of people think that the COVID was kind of like a big science experiment of just how far you can push people to total dominance. You feel me? All right. I don't know. I know I have my own intelligent decisions that I've made, and like I told you how I make them. Grab me a piece of paper, draw a line down it, and figure it out. You know, I keep it simple. And I think that it really is time for us in our community to really consider that. One of the things is, guess what? Democracy is gone. It really has never been here for Black people anyway. What is new for us is a new ecosystem. It's referred to as social enterprise. For those that don't know, please reach out to me. I'd love to have the conversation with you.
But during COVID, a lot of entrepreneurship changed in the United States during COVID, right?
A lot of it was birthed because it was
Right.
you had no choice.
Right.
You had brilliant people that had no choice, and what really had happened was you saw that, guess what? Nobody was coming. All right?
Even when the
Because
world got shut down,
What I
we
just
found
said
a
to you,
way. Yes, sir.
we found a way.
We found a way.
We found a way. But you know what? That is inherited to our culture. We've always found a way. Matter of fact, and I'm gonna share you with this one. I told you I did work with eShip and John Hopkins. And they have this thing called a Black Butterfly, and it talks about how the center funding of all the money and funding that comes to Baltimore City, which is a hell of a lot, is all focused to downtown. Even though all of the outskirts are what really generate the money to come in, that's why they call it a butterfly. That the wings are actually the generating of the power that brings it back into the core. All right. And what John Hopkins and eShip wanted to figure out was that how does Black micro, and I gave them that word micro business. They said small. It's not small. How does Black micro business survive? How do you go through all this shit? No funding, horrible communities, all right? No type of on-ramp for you to figure this out, and no commitment from the city or the state to make it happen. You feel me? How do we keep still doing it? All right? Like I said, you can look it up. Everything that I said, like Brother Muhammad always says, is factual. All right? But one of the key things is that they still have not been able to figure that out. You know, like I said, you got a few people that have taken some of the things and the thoughts and the processes we have, and they've created some stuff. You know, and it's really not for us. And a lot of people need to be very wary in reference to a lot of your financial programs and stuff of that nature. All right, like I said, country style. If you're dealing with a bank, all right, that's going to do something special for you. You've been banking with them for 10 years and they ain't never did nothing special for you. Read all your papers. Take it to somebody legal. Let them read it, okay? And remember, you have a value too. Every program that you sign up for and they promise you something, right, guess what? They're getting paid. So if they're going to tell you how to balance your books, they're getting paid, okay? Please do not think they're doing out the goodness of their heart. You have to look at what people did before, and that tells you what the root is.
It was great being with you.
Huh? Oh, no, kick me off. All right, now. Show's done. I see you kicking me off early. All right.
I said
2
it was
more
great being
minutes.
with him. It's great being
2
with him.
minutes.
I like it.
Oh, thank you. And then maybe you let me hang out again.
It's not
You
a
know,
problem.
and what I like to do, I'll probably invite you back on my show, Thriving Thursdays.
No, that's
All
not a
right?
problem.
We'll get it back popping again. The main focus is really community. It's bringing us together and having a platform for everybody. Normally by this time in the election period, okay, we've had a few of the politicians here earlier, and what we ask them to do is do it the right way. Bring a black agenda, what you plan to do for us. Because the one thing I share with you, when you look at those that you're voting for right now, remember this. Amazon is not going to send them a box with a K and an S and a super sword, all right? Make sure that you know what their plan is right now before they get your vote. Don't let them tell you, I'm doing this because God sent me. If God sent him, guess what? I know he sent a damn plan too. What's the plan? You feel me? All right? So, I mean, that's one that if I can leave with anything, please keep an eye on these rascals. All right? But remember this also. Don't put all your heart in it because we have no control over it. More so, put it in yourself. All right? Find out how to make yourself awesome. All right? And don't let anybody shut you down and put you in a box.
Yeah, but did you ever realize how many people you impact in the veterans community, where they actually can come somewhere and be comfortable?
Yeah,
and
you know what? It comes to you bit by bit. When you look at a lot of the things and a lot of the groups that are in Baltimore right now that are quote unquote shakers and movers, they started here. When you talk about community and Baltimore lifting itself up, in reality, they started here. All right, because this was a place that was created with an agape love, meaning that you came here and we didn't expect anything back of you. Maybe you bought something to eat, maybe you didn't. No, you better buy something to eat.
right,
But you know, it wasn't an ulterior motive. And a lot of times when you go places, it's really about an ulterior motive. They want your bread. See, that's amateur. All right, I don't want your loose change. I want to create customers and communities for life. All right. That way you don't got to keep doing it over and over again. My 2 minutes almost. Oh, and once again, thank everybody for listening. And my name is Terrance Dixon, owner of the Terra Cafe, located at 101 East 25th Street.
you gotta come get
in the
that cabbage.
heart of Baltimore City. And if you can't find us, I'm gonna give you the phone number. Get your pencil now. Hurry up. I only got a couple more minutes. Well, seconds. 410 is easy. 777-5277. That's right, number of completion. That's what it really is all about. One step at a time. Peace and thank you.
Peace.
What's the hours that you're open?
Hours that we're opening, we're on this little thing now, 11 to 9, Monday through Thursday, and then 11 to until 11 till we get done. 11 until 11 on Friday and Saturday, and then on Sunday we're open from 11 to 7. Please come and check out our new brunch. We're still serving food outside in the garden. I got a couple of tricks I'm gonna rock out with them, so come take the ride for me. All right. Look forward to seeing you. Peace.
Get the cabbage. You gotta come get the cabbage. It's special.